It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to thank you for listening, and you're now tuning into episode 2 of DeltaCo Fireteam Chat. I'm your host, Audio Reborn, and today we are gathered with Krakenfall.
Hey.
And Moss.
Hello.
And No Face.
Hello, hello.
What's up, guys? How you doing today?
You know, best day ever.
Absolutely.
Glad it's Friday.
Hey, I'm getting to hang out with tacos on a Friday night. Best day ever.
Absolutely. That's great to hear, guys. So, we're going to start this podcast off a little bit differently here. Kind of something we haven't done in the past. We're going to just kind of talk about ourselves.
My favorite subject.
Well, specifically, let's go through and talk about how each of us got our gamer tags.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So, my gamer tag has gone through several changes. So, music has always played a large part in my life. It's just something I grew up on ever since I was a kid. So audio, it started out as Audio Misfit. This was like a long time ago when I did like my own solo electronic type stuff, which I'm sure if you go to MySpace or something, you could just type it in and find it. But like,
I'm going to do that now.
You probably, oh no. But yeah, so it's went from like Audio Misfit to Rebirth, which you guys are familiar with, and then now it's Reborn. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
It's a sweet name. I've always liked it.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah. Krakenfall is really just it's a stupid story. I got an Xbox a couple years after it came out because, you know, I was a poor high school student whose parents didn't pay for gaming, so I couldn't really afford it until like right before I graduated. And when I was trying to create my gamer tag, I don't know. I want it to be cool. Krakens are cool. Krakenfall. And like around that time, that's when Xbox Live Gold, you could sign up for a month for free. And so I actually jumped around. People were just like creating accounts and then using the free month and then creating a different account and then using the free month. And I'm not going to lie, I did that like 3 times. So,
But who hasn't, right?
I had Krakenfall. I had some other one I don't remember because I don't think I even used it the full month. And I had X Krakenfall X which is why if you see people with like stuff around their actual gamer tag, probably because they created a new account to get free Xbox Live. Back in the Halo days. Halo 2, Halo 3.
I remember those days.
Yeah. So finally, after a couple years, I deleted my original Krakenfall and then changed my X Krakenfall X, which was my main account. So yeah. I like it. It's a pretty solid name.
Oh, yeah.
Cool name.
So, if we're going on stupid stories, so No Face is the only like account that I've ever had. It's the only gamer tag I've ever had. I never did anything else because the whole way I started out with it is because I had a roommate and we had an Xbox 360 and we both played Fallout 3, and so we needed our own accounts. So I didn't have gold or anything at the time, so I just created like an account that I never thought was gonna be anything, you know, that I would ever use on gold, because I never thought I was ever going to play a multiplayer game or anything like that. And the way that I came up with the name is literally probably a week or 2 before we actually got our Xbox 360 and Fallout 3. We had watched Spirited Away. And one of the characters in Spirited Away is No Face. And that's the entirety of my story. I picked No Face on a whim because I watched an anime movie, and I have stuck with it for like the past decade now.
It's a good name. No Face is a good character.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I enjoy it. I think I like my gamer tag, but I just never when I picked it, I never thought it was gonna be something I was gonna stick with. That's for sure.
I dig it. So I guess I'm last, huh?
Indeed, you are.
Mine's sappy.
You mean genius?
Well, a couple things as a backstory. I didn't really have much of an online footprint for the original Xbox. I played it a ton. I just never really was online with it due to where I was living at the time, way out in the country. But when I got married, one of my wedding gifts was actually an Xbox 360. And I'm a bit of a Superman fan, and that was also a nickname of mine when I worked search and rescue in Virginia. So the Moss actually stands for Man of Steel. And the sequence of numbers is actually the clever genius part that people were referencing earlier. That's my wedding date. Also the sappy part.
Oh, wow. That's cool, man.
One way for me to always help make sure I remember the date, and also just pay tribute to the fact that my wife is also a gamer, and she and I spent many hours creeping up into the sunrise playing Left 4 Dead.
Nice.
That was our
Oh,
jam.
that's awesome.
Pills
that was
here.
our jam back in the day. And in fact, there's some other members of our clan, Delirious. He's my bro. He's my fraternity brother, and he and his wife, we would system link up and run 4 deep on Left 4 Dead, and yeah, it was
That is so
good
cool.
times, one and all.
It's a double
Yeah.
date.
Oh yeah. So that's my story, and it'll probably be my gamer tag, hopefully for the rest of my life.
Well, that's
cool, man.
Great story, man. Great
I
story.
like how that's hopefully. Yeah, if you have
Hey.
to change that, some terrible stuff has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope I can stay blessed.
It's the apocalypse, and Microsoft has been destroyed. Gamer tags
Yeah,
are
that's
no
what
longer.
we're talking about.
Moss is the only one standing.
Yes.
All right, so anything interesting happened to you guys in Destiny 2 this week? You gotten a chance to log on and play a little bit?
All right, so I have an interesting, fun little story, and so the note that I made in our little podcast notes, it just says here, really briefly, "No rated with Warhammer on drugs by accident." So that's kind of the subtitle of my little story here. So one of the things I do in real life, I guess, well, I'm a retired professional mixed martial artist, and so I still train a lot and I still do a lot of coaching. And I guess it was Tuesday or something like that. I had hurt my shoulder over the weekend, but because I'm an idiot, I'd kept training, and I was also getting sick. So Tuesday night, I had taken some cough syrup because I was coughing, which you'll probably hear me doing throughout the podcast. I had taken like some muscle relaxants because my shoulder was all spazzing out, and I log on to Destiny because I'm like, all right, let me just run some Crucible real quick, try and get that milestone out of the way, and because I know within like an hour I'm going to be non-functional. And I get a message from Princess, and she's like, "Hey, you want to run the raid?" And I respond with, "I've only got an hour," because I felt like I had maybe an hour of brain power left in me. She's like, "That's fine." And so that I jump into the raid and I look at it and I see that Warhammer's in there, and I'm like, "Oh God, I don't think Warhammer's gotten to completion yet." And so all of a sudden I realize I am stuck in this thing, because I'm not leaving this damn raid until we get Warhammer his completion. So about 2 hours in, we're doing Callus, and I'm sitting there and I'm having to concentrate so hard. Everybody else is talking and joking around and everything, and I'm just sitting there. I'm in the shadow realms like, dog, sun, blades, and like that's the only thing I'm saying for like the last hour as we finish Callus, because like it was so hard for me to concentrate. But happy ending, we did get Warhammer's completion,
Nice.
and it was awesome. And then I slept like a rock. It was great.
Nice.
I'm very glad you were able to jump in and run that, man.
I'm probably part of the reason it took us 3 hours, but we got it done, so that's the important part.
I don't actually have my completion yet. I haven't done the raid since week 1.
Well,
Wow,
with
we
me.
need to-
Get with me tomorrow. Send me a message. We've got some good folks that are we're definitely ready to get people guided through, help them understand the way it runs, the way it works, and we'll get you there.
Yeah, my thing is, I don't want to say I'm boycotting it, but I really don't like the fact that there are no drops after encounters. That's really just kind of a killer for me.
Complete the raid, and it does balance out, man.
I'll
I
agree.
shared that frustration a lot until it was like, holy crap, okay, enough with the drops. Because once you have the raid completed and you're able to access Benedict, it balances, the feel balances back out, at least in terms of my sensation of reward. Otherwise, it feels kind of like you're just slamming your head into a brick wall until you get that first completion.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I think
maybe I'll
they
give it a shot.
kind of
And,
realized.
We know how to make you funny, make it laugh, and talk dirty,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
do
so a
the
typical
normal
taco,
taco thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just another Friday night.
I was gonna say, I think they kind of realized that the raid only really gets completed by the most hardcore players, so like they might as well just, like, I guess with their new token policy, they just said, okay, this is fine.
So, Kraken, how do you feel about tokens?
We talked about that last time.
oh, sorry, did we? Completely slipped my mind.
Although PC is pretty good, but I won't talk about that yet.
All right, so we had some big news this week in Destiny 2. Season 2 from the Bungie reveal. So some things I guess we can just kind of touch on. Now, unless you guys want to just want me to just kind of just list off some things from the weekly update. So we got new systems and rewards to give our engaged players additional and optional pursuits, better incentives for players who complete challenging prestige activities, better rewards and replay value for strikes, adventures, and lost sectors, private matches for the competitive community, which is targeted for early 2018, crucible tuning like adjusted supremacy scoring and better spawning rules, better incentives for completing crucible matches and penalties for quitting competitive games, continued improvements to Iron Banner, faction rallies, including uniqueness of rewards, changes to make the mod economy more interesting and impactful. We got new ways to spend surplus currency and materials. Talking about, your legendary shards. Good old shards. And an emote interface that allows players to equip salty, spicy ramen, 6-shooter, and flip out all at the same time.
Yay!
About time.
4 emotes.
Oh man, I can't wait.
That's going to be so much fun.
And a few things from the Twitch reveal, which because they didn't quite cover it all in the weekly update. The seasons are going to be quarterly, so every 3 months, and they're shooting for more predictable timetables, predictable cadences for game updates. They're going to be changing themes for the player experience, and sandbox tuning. So every new season, they're going to have new sandbox tunings, which is going to be pretty cool. I think season 2 starts in winter 2017, and the Dawning is coming back as well. And they're going to have this thing like ice hockey. I think that's in the tower.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is news to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that they were converting the soccer arenas to
Ice hockey.
hockey rinks, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I know will excite Husker as well.
I think I've seen a hockey puck once in my life, so
Not that
I'm
it takes
so excited about it.
Well, I grew up in Virginia, so to be fair, I did have hockey rinks up there and frozen lakes and such. Not here in Alabama, though. No. They'll have those fake crap ones where it's like the stuff that links together, puzzle piece style.
Yeah.
And you can sort of skate around on it.
All right. So, one of the things that they talked about was in-game reward changes.
Can't wait.
Yeah. That Yeah, that's kind of one of the killers for Destiny 2 for me is there's it's too much slot machine and not enough just drops at the end of encounters and things like that.
Well, and if we're talking about rewards, again, we kind of hashed out the tokens versus rewards thing kind of last time. So, for me, and this is one of the things I was actually talking to Lane about this week, and one of the things he was saying is that he just feels like the rewards that are there suck anyway.
Yeah.
Like, there's like 3 weapons in the entire game that you actually care about getting, and then, the raid gear is terrible. The raid weapons are mediocre at best. There was like 1 weapon out of Iron Banner that was pretty good. Don't even get me started on anything Hunter that, it's like, wow, I got my recovery up to 4. This is awesome. And so I know Bungie didn't give us a ton of details on what they're going to do for the reward changes and anything like that. But they are changing it, which I guess is a step in the right direction. So what is, because I know we're all kind of hypothesizing, but what's something we kind of like, do y'all think that you want to see in the in-game reward? What would you like? Do you want to see more powerful weapons? Do you want to see more creative things? Or what do y'all think would be something cool they could change for the reward in-game stuff?
So, as somebody, like, I've playing WoW for a really long time, and I still play it till this day. And one of the things that I was really excited to hear about was like all the stuff that they were going to implement into like patrol, with like flashpoints. The way that they had described it before Destiny 2 had came out, it really sounded like world bosses from World of Warcraft. So I don't know if you're familiar with that. Yeah, that's the way they made it sound. I was like, oh, cool, because I mean, if you play WoW and if you have like an in-game character, world bosses, like if you go to like a raid one, there's like tons of people, and it's just this big, awesome social experience. You get to go meet new people, get loot, and it's great. I thought that was going to be the same thing in Destiny 2, and that was not the case. So basically, I would just like to see more like boss-specific loot, more strike-specific loot. Give me more reasons to want to go out and patrol besides flashpoints, lost sectors, and so on, and just regular patrols. Because right now, it's just kind of stale.
Hang on a sec. So, I didn't play WoW as much as I actually wanted to, which is not something you really hear too often. But so what you're saying for the flashpoint is like the flashpoint is saying, okay, go do a bunch of public events, and the idea is that there will be these world bosses that are just out there in open world instances where you can just like wander in on this random boss in a cave or something, and there's like 20 people already there, and they're all trying to beat this boss that's ostensibly not, very easy, and you just join in and get the kill, and then you do this group experience. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah. So in WoW, the way it's implemented is like you go to the map, and if you look on the map, it'll notify you, but like, hey, if you do this boss, you get this, and if you do like 4 of those or 4 or 5, and then if you do them within like a certain time frame, you get like this loot cache, and it gives you like more loot on top of what you've already gotten.
Yeah.
And they kind of do that in patrols because the high value targets. It's kind of like it, but it's like a really watered down version.
Right. Well, and it ended up being more just like a old fashioned bounty from Destiny 1, where it's like, oh, go do this many public events, which the public events were very like formulaic. You do them 100. I think in my console characters, I think I've played more than 400 public events.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's like. And then they give you tokens, which I won't talk about, but like...
I mean, I don't think that Destiny 2 will be like WoW, because WoW is an MMO, Destiny is not an MMO.
Right.
Bungie's made that very clear. So, the only way I could really see Destiny 2 even having something remotely like that is make all the PvE events either heroic or make the prestige.
Yeah. I guess it's pretty labor intensive to be creating these world experiences that they can't really put that much time, because how much time they put into the raid, like that's the next level, I think, is as far as expenses go in creating it. So it's not like they can really expend that, or I assume it would be cool to have a public event that had mechanics.
So, and I understand the reasoning for having public events kind of be very similar, repetitive, basically shoot stuff until everything is dead kind of thing, because in this, on console, I really understand it. On PC, it's kind of ridiculous, because there's no way to really communicate with just randos in the open world. And so having a mechanic thing, I understand they want to make these public events more accessible to everyone, but I'm with you. If it's something for a powerful gear or something like that, I think all those milestone type things should be more difficult than they are. And then accordingly, because you are getting decent as far as power level goes, you're getting decent loot for those. And so having something that's more difficult that, God forbid we say this, but excludes some of the player base that just, is not capable of doing that or not willing to invest the time to learn how to do that, I feel like that's completely okay. But Bungie went for like the really accessible kind of public events, and honestly, I think that hurt the game in a way.
Well, I guess it's tough too, because then you have the situation where you've got a bunch of new players who are just running around shooting stuff and having fun, and then they go find this public event thing that they've never heard of before, and they're like, "Oh wow, what's this?" And then they try to do it by themselves, because the matchmaking for some of the patrols just stinks, and so they're by themselves and they fail, because it's actually, let's just say they went for the hardcore approach, or not even the hardcore approach, but like the more complex approach instead of the accessible, and then they don't try again, and I think that's what they were trying to avoid. But I don't know, you gotta respect your players' intelligence, I think, and let people try and figure things out. Like, I think the best approach would have been something where people can experiment with how they're doing things instead of just like running at it or trying to do direct damage. Like maybe they can, like, maybe it could be a jumping puzzle or something, or maybe I need to be on the top platform to do the damage or something like that. Like something that's not too involved, maybe 1 or 2 levels deep. That would have been cool.
Right.
Yeah, and I think what it is, it's kind of just what we touched on last week. It's just, I feel like it's another way that Bungie has just kind of streamlined the game for newer players, kind of make it more accessible.
Which, something we didn't really talk about yet, because I think we missed it in the update, is that the live team is taking over. And the live team is the team that maintained Destiny 1 from year 1 after Crota's End, to end of year 3. So they did a lot of great work, and I learned a lot of lessons, and I'm hoping they take a lot of those and do the first DLC and big patch, sandbox tuning, with those lessons in mind.
Yeah, and one of the things that, if you think about it, and it sucks, but they've made the creative team has made a lot of the same mistakes that Destiny 1 kind of did. And I'm not saying that the live team is going to come in and be amazing and fix everything. That would be great if they did, but I mean, it's just, everyone's human, so it's not like we're going to say like this whole thing is going to be perfect after they come in. But they have said, like the creative team and the live team said, that they want to respect and work for rewards and activities that respect players' time investment. Because we talked about this some last week and everything. If you're putting in tons and tons of time and you're getting the same 4 or 5 weapons over and over and over again, that's not really respecting your time, and you can't reach that one, like Iron Banner is a prime example. You can't get that one piece of armor that you still need left. So Bungie is aware of these things, and so I'm really hoping that they will take some of that stuff, like tweaking the difficulty of certain things, tweaking how, like, what the rewards are, and things like that is stuff that they've talked about. And so I'm hoping, like we get, like Audio was saying, like the more involved public events, more loot in general, but worthwhile loot. It's not like, oh wow, my raid gear is pretty, and that's its only redeeming attribute. That kind of thing. So hopefully, that sort of stuff does start happening. Starting with like season 2, is I think we're going to see the first big wave of that sort of stuff. So I'm being positive. This is No Face being positive for this podcast.
And I think I'm in the same vein. Quick impromptu poll on a scale of 1 to 5. With all the complaints that the community's had, and maybe you guys have had, how do you think these updates, if you read it, responded to that? Like, as far as like how many complaints or what quality of complaints there were.
Which way does the scale run?
1 is the worst. Like, they didn't really answer.
I give them a 3 because I think they had a middle of the road answer. They tried to.
Did you?
I feel like they lukewarm response to everything. It was just like, well, we want to tease that we're going to give you more out of your rewards, but we still want the casual player to feel like they're going to get a chance for it.
They basically were just saying, hey, we're listening to you. We understand what's going on. We're working on it, and we're trying to have a fix. I mean, that's all that they can really say, other than, hey, this is what's coming up,
So, as far if we're talking about the response itself, I think the response is honestly like a 4.5-ish or something. I think it's a pretty good response. Now, the thing that I'm not so sure about is the follow-through on it. So, because just like a lot of stuff, you can have a great response and say like, oh, we understand, this is that. Like, I think the response was really good, saying, like, because they listed the problems that everyone's talked about, they've admitted the problems, and they said they're going to work on them and talk about different ways they might do it. Now, what's the follow-through on that? Is this something that we're going to end up paying for, in like 3 or 4 more DLCs 2 years from now? Is this something they're going to patch in? I mean, so the follow-through is really kind of where I'm questioning it. That's where my positivity did not last long at all.
Yeah. Audio?
Yeah, I'm going to have to give it about a 3.5. I mean, I wasn't really expecting anything wild and crazy. Yeah, they told us a lot, but they, like you said, I mean, they pretty much just gave the lukewarm answer they usually do. So I'm just kind of about 3.5 on that.
Yeah. I actually probably should have asked the question better, but it was a spur of the moment thing. I would say probably a 4 for me, like personally for my grievances. I think that they're going to be approaching the Crucible issue, because Crucible is just horrible. At least competitive Crucible is so bad, and a lot of the big streamers are like moving on to other games because it's like it's pretty embarrassing. But I think they're going to be attacking some of the Crucible balance issues and just like general like lack of diversity in tactics. And then the rewards were the big one, was the big thing. Like, they don't have any rewards, and hopefully they figure something out. But I kind of agree with No Face that the implementation is also going to matter, like how they actually follow through, because I don't think they're going to be making drastic changes, and that's actually got me a little scared. So maybe my answer is going to change soon, but I was pretty happy. I'm not playing Destiny as much. I've been playing Overwatch and a little bit of Fortnite, but I hope I can come back soon.
Yeah.
So, sorry, this one thing that I'm going to touch on, just, and we don't have to really discuss it, but Kraken saying doesn't play as much. So, Bungie has to be listening to things, because I don't know if y'all seen it, but the unique players per day has dropped off something like 70% since release week. So this is obviously a huge deal, and so Bungie is obviously taking a look at this, because those numbers are gigantic.
Yeah,
the player base has dwindled.
My only question or my only response to that is like, what was it in Destiny 1? In what timeline? So it could be staggering, or it might be normal. Like, I don't remember.
And a lot of I'm sorry, go ahead.
Take it, Audio.
Well, I'm just saying, like, a lot of those players, they could be like, streamers, YouTube people. They could have just been like, you know what, I'm just going to wait for PC because, PC came out this week on Tuesday.
Mm.
So they could have been just waiting for PC. And I've been watching a lot of people play this on YouTube and on Twitch. And a lot of these people are saying, like, I think I'm just going to stick to PC. So that play race might go back up.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
I will
But-
say Moss is telling us through Magic that he's got to go. So goodbye, Moss.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, man. Anytime you want to come back, just let us know, man.
Cool. So we should probably wrap up soon. Audio, do you want to cover the Bright Engram reset or?
To be honest with you, I have not even been on this week. I know it sounds terrible of me, but
This is for seasons. Like they're going to be resetting all the cosmetic stuff. So every year or every season they're going to be going through and all of the exotic emotes and the exotic ships and the exotic I don't know, legendary shaders, the ones that are available through the Eververse at least, they're going to be taking those out and they're going to be introducing an entire new set every season.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Gone forever.
Yep.
yeah.
So if you don't get it in season 1, too bad. Especially when it is.
It's kind of an Overwatch thing to do because Overwatch will have these events. Like right now it's October, it's the Halloween event. And you've got like maybe 3 weeks to get, I think 2 weeks actually, to get all of the skins, and then they're gone. So like they're really incentivizing the loot box purchases, and I think they're doing that.
Which I feel like I think it's brilliant business, but at the time, like right now, there's nothing in Eververse that I actually want.
Right.
So I mean, I feel like they would have to, for this to actually work, they're really gonna have to have some cool stuff actually in Eververse, because again, there's just nothing I want there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the list right now. So season 2, the first things first, they're just showing off some new stuff that's going to be in season 2. There's going to be new armor and weapons for faction rallies. There's also going to be new stuff for Bright Ingrams. I'm not going to go into detail here, but they're also going to be adding a new mechanic to the game, and it's called Clarion Call. This starts in season 2. Basically what it is, you will be getting double XP while playing activities with your fire team. So that's actually really cool. So, because say in season 1, if you don't get what you want, but you see something in season 2 that you really want, during Clarion Call, you have double the chance of getting more Bright Engrams, which means double the chance of getting more stuff that you want. But what I've also heard that Clarion Call is going to be implemented in each season, but it's not always going to be play with your fire team. It could just be like play X activity or what have you. But
Interesting.
yeah. So let's see here. They're going to be adding new exotic ships, exotic sparrows. There's going to be new ghosts. I don't know if there's going to be any exotic ghosts. That's something I would like to see personally.
Have y'all seen the new ghosts, by the way? Sorry to interrupt you, but
No, I haven't.
they're goofy.
I'm
They're-
looking at them
they're
right now.
weird.
I'm looking at this one, and it looks like an MP3 player.
Yeah, so for those of you, if you haven't seen like the season 2 ghosts or anything that they released, like go ahead and Google that, because like they don't look like ghosts anymore. Like they're all sorts of like random shapes and stuff. I mean, some are pretty cool, but it's very, very different.
Yeah, there's this one. It's I'm looking at it right now. It's like a rotating ghost. It looks like it basically looks like you're looking out into space, but when you turn it, you watch the stars move as well. So I thought that was kind of cool. Anyways,
Yeah.
Sorry, I
So
lost
I mean,
that.
I think there is, I think there is some really cool stuff that they're doing with this season's things. One of the other things you talked about being with your fire team and Clarion calls, um, is also they're resetting clan XP. So for those of you who didn't know that, yes, we will have to re-earn our rank 6 back in the clan.
Cool.
Now, supposedly, I looked for it, I couldn't find it. I read it somewhere and then couldn't re-find the article. We will get a banner staff for this next season, saying that we got
Max rank.
rank 6 or whatever in this previous season, but we will have to re-earn our rank again. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's okay. I think it's probably going to be really frustrating for smaller clans that took a lot longer to get their rank 6, but we'll see. It may work out okay.
Yeah, and so they're also talking about, of course, with a new season, there's also going to be sandbox tuning. They didn't go into detail on what the sandbox tuning was, but and then and you just hit up on the clan thing. So that's pretty much it for season 2 that they talked about.
Yeah.
Well, the last thing that they talked about was the dawning, which is, I'm assuming that's going to be the winter event. So,
Yeah.
like you said, they're going to have ice skating rink in the tower. There's going to be armor, which I'm looking at right now, and it looks pretty dope. It's like the white and blue.
They covered Iron Banner and Trials of 9 and faction rallies also, but we don't need to go into too many of those. They did say that the token economy is not the best way for everything.
Yeah,
That makes me excited.
yeah, that makes me very excited.
Just because Bungie agrees with you doesn't mean you're right. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Okay. You're entitled to that opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to talk about? No? All
Yeah,
right.
I think
I guess that wraps it up for this episode. I'm Audio Reborn. We've got Crack and Fall and No Face. We'd like to thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.